Well, we've had the players' perspective going into the Shield final with Matt Short. Now we get the coach's perspective. First time on the podcast this year. Chris Rogers, welcome.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had a problem with me, Whitey. You just hadn't invited me.
I think it was one thing, getting to a final and then you can be invited upstairs.
Fair enough.
Congratulations on getting into the final. I know there's still one more game, but it is an achievement to reach the final considering the youth in the team, the challenges you've had along the way, and particularly considering if we look after that Tasmanian game, a lot had to go right for you to get to that final.
Yeah. I mean, a lot has gone right and things have gone our way and we've played some really good cricket as well. And it's been a surprise. I'll be honest about that. I still think that we're probably, a couple of years away from really peaking as a side. And that's on the back of, us picking a lot of young players, especially our bowling attack, our seam bowlers. But it probably just shows that we have incredible talent throughout the state, as good as anywhere, I'd like to think. And they're starting to come through and show, how good they are as well and stepping up to the performances that they need to. So it's been really impressive. Back to your point, I think it was actually when we were effectively 6 for 80 against New South Wales at lunch on day 3 because we'd been a bit behind on the first innings. And I was probably wondering how long I might be in this role for. But from there, Campbell Kellaway made an 80. He was backed up by Fergus O'Neill and Sam Elliott, all of those guys kind of under 23. And then on the final day, Will Sullivan and Todd Murphy, another couple of young guys, bowled us to victory. So, to win that game, especially on the back of the young performances, was amazing. And we've carried that consistency through the second half of the season. That's been outstanding.
I want to get back to that New South Wales game in a moment, but there's a word there. There's a couple of words around spirit and character which I think define this group. And even when you weren't having the results in those first 4 or 5 games, you could just tell there was something special about the group, the togetherness and the want to improve, that you kind of felt it was going to turn around. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was listening to the Test series, Australia versus India, and Ravi Shastri, the ex-Indian coach, was talking, and he said, it was really important they kept bringing young energy through the group. I'm learning as much as anyone, but we have had a lot of young energy and guys who are hungry to learn, hungry to perform, hungry to work as well, and that's kind of it seems to have been rubbing off on everyone really, and from there that the team has kind of caught fire a little bit, and as I said, it's been really enjoyable. And the thing is, I think they're playing with discipline, but also enjoying it. That doesn't always go hand in hand. So the fact that the young guys are doing that, I think, bodes well.
The New South Wales game you referenced before, and I wanted to talk about that because I remember they were coming out after lunch and the chat with the players is, we just need 1 wicket and we'll get on a roll here, which was interesting considering you hadn't had the wins, but there was still this confidence, no, we just need 1 wicket. And I think the wicket was a run out and away it went and you got on that little bit of a run. But it's this intangible with this young team of what's possible. Now it is possible because you've actually done it over a period of time, and it's that discipline, as you say, but it's a collective performance. It's not one bloke taking lots of wickets or one bloke making lots of runs. Everyone is playing their role. I mean, I'm just interested for you to expand on that a little bit as a coach. Is that specific instructions from you, or is that player ownership? How is it happening that it's everyone's contributing? It's a long question, by the way.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think these things take time. I spoke to Sean Graff, who happened to be over in Perth for the last game, and obviously is a legend, general manager for 28 years. But we recognise kind of almost when I started, there was a bit of a change of the guard. Lots of young guys coming through. It was always going to take time, and is taking time. There's still a fair bit to go. So with that, you're probably going to struggle to have belief about winning games because guys have never really done it, and it probably just needed one to happen. And I remember at the time when it did happen, probably, and saying to the group, this is actually, the first time that the older guys haven't had to carry the younger guys. And we've been carried by some unbelievable performances by a lot of our senior players, but this was the first time that New South Wales game where the young blokes got it done, and from there it just kind of sparked this belief, I think, that they can hold their own, and not only that, I think perform and win games. So, going into the second half of the season without Scotty Boland and basically picking 4 guys who are under 23 or 23 and younger to carry your seam attack. I mean, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of us who secretly thought, well, this could be interesting. But they've stepped up and they've shown that they're good enough. And I think back to that belief, I think it's just starting to circulate amongst the group, and they're almost competing with each other, which is really healthy.
So what do you do as a coach in that situation with that almost squad mentality? You've got 7 or 8 bowlers that could go in and represent Victoria at any one time. Batting's a bit the same, particularly with Pete coming back from Australian duties. There's going to be an unlucky player. As a coach, are you letting that all unfold around you, that you've set it up, now it's up to them, or are you still real hands-on in setting up the way they're playing and the feeling around the group?
I think I saw a quote where, good sides are led by the coach, but great sides are led by the players. It's trying to empower them as much as possible, but that doesn't mean you sit on your hands. You've got to try and use your assistant coaches, your resources to give them the best information possible, the best plans possible. But then you want to allow them to go out and play and make mistakes and review at the end. So, but really it's you're hoping that they take ownership, and particularly when it comes to things like discipline and work ethic and things like that. So that's when you want the players to own it. So, as a coach, you don't have to be the bad cop all the time. But I think it's going in the right way. And it's interesting. I think with our group, we've got some really, really strong leaders amongst that younger group. That they're going to be leading the state for a long time to come, I think. And that's again, is going to bode well.
A couple of redemption stories. Mitch Perry, just a few thoughts on him. He was one that you had to drop early in the season, and it kind of not necessarily came from nowhere, but at the start of the summer he was going to be the main man. He is almost the main man now, but how he was able to turn it around, you must be proud of him.
Yeah, he is one of those leaders. He leads from the front. He's boisterous, he's energetic, he's fun, and he works his socks off. He's one of the best in the gym, on the training park, all those kind of things. So, we always, believe that he had what it takes. It just, he probably wasn't understanding his role that clearly. And sometimes when you're playing first class cricket, it's a tough league, and things aren't going your way. Your confidence can ebb and flow and disappear pretty quickly. And it probably happened to him. He needed a bit of a reset and needed to be challenged a little bit about what he was doing. But the best thing about that is, he took it all on the chin. It hurt him a little bit. He went back. He was captain of the second 11. He played for Richmond. He did everything he needed to do, and then he responded the way he has. And it's another one. The way he's bowling now, I didn't think he was capable of that this year. That's for sure. So, he showed what a good player he is. Not just that with the bat, and he's got us run outs as well and catches. He's becoming an excellent player and an important player for us. So that's been a real boost, and one of those things I think that's turned us around.
He represents the bowlers. Representing the batting from a redemption story is obviously Matt Short. We had a chat to Matt before. I know you had a fair bit to do with him sort of between the Big Bash and the restart of the Sheffield Shield. Did you think he was capable of this? Because I'm not sure Matt knew he was capable of this.
I don't think... I mean, I've said it a couple of times, but you you'd watch him in the indoor nets, and you think he is the best player on show here. He plays shot, and I think the other players will agree as well. You know, he's playing shots that other guys are looking at, going, "Wow, you know, this guy's something special." But he just hadn't been able to put it together. You said I had a lot to do. I don't think really it did. He got a lot of confidence out of the BBL. He's another one. He probably just didn't understand his role. He always used to ask, "What's my role?" kind of thing, and it was kind of confusing because, you know, I think in 4-day cricket your roles, it doesn't change too much, but clearly I think he was searching for more how he handles himself mentally, and what he needs to do, and maybe it was more just kind of giving him a bit more freedom around that, and for him to take a bit more ownership and being positive and backing those strengths. But yeah, I mean, he's done some amazing work along the way of the BBL. I think some of the work he's done with the coaches in there has been excellent, and it's great to see him get some confidence. And yeah, he's playing a style of cricket that not many, even in Australia, can play, I think.
Yeah, exactly right. And we talked to Matt about this, about as the expectation rises with what he did initially, he's actually continued to rise with that expectation. We see across multiple sports, someone can come and make a bit of a burst of runs, get the attention, then can't live up to that and fall back down. He's continued to go on a sort of an upwards trajectory.
Yeah, I listened to an interview he did on Waitley, and he spoke about he's been in good form, but he's kind of let it slip a bit too easily, whereas this time he's really focused on kind of holding on to that. And that's all a little bit, you know, they're words, but, you know, you do see him in the nets. He's working hard. He's thinking about it. He's having good conversations. And he's trying to make every post a winner as well. So it's clear, you know, he's really, really enjoying what he's doing at the moment, and he wants to stay there for as long as possible. And if he can, I mean, then, you know, you'd think that other opportunities will quickly open up for him.
Will Sutherland, not so much his bowling, because that's all to see, but I'm interested in you telling us a little bit about his leadership. I think it's terrific that he got given that captaincy opportunity with Pete going over to India. I'm not sure how to describe the impact that he has on the group, so I'll leave it up to you, because he's been incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, because I guess with Pete going, and we have such a young group, it would have been easy just to ask Marcus Harris to do the job. And I'm sure he would have done a fine job. But we felt it was a really good opportunity. There was 4 games in the second half of the season where it was a good opportunity to see if our thoughts around Will were pretty good. And I guess for him, it wasn't necessarily about the on-field leadership. It was as much about the off-field. And we do have a young group, and we probably have to change the mentality around the group, tighten the structure a little bit, give them a bit more direction, whereas we've had such good senior players who have been able to kind of, have freedom to do what they want to do and still perform well. So we needed to kind of tighten that up, and we needed role models. And for Will, he is, I talked about Mitch Perry, but everyone will agree that Sutho is the best. He's he's around the group, in the gym, on the training field, those kind of things. He leads from the front every time. And we almost want the next generation of Victorian players to come up, look at that and go, okay, that's what I need to aspire to. So there was that side. And then, we thought we might have a few issues when it came to the tactical side, but being red ball cricket, it's a bit slower. You could get to breaks, review, kind of fix things. But he's been quite incredible. And his instinct has been excellent. And that's been probably the most surprising thing. He a lot of the times he'll make decisions out on the field, and I'm sure he's got good advice by some of the senior guys out there. But they've been working, and yeah, if your instincts pretty good when it comes to leadership, then that's going to help you massively. So yeah, from our point of view, he's been outstanding, and he's a future leader for Victoria. But we've got Pete Hansen coming back in for the final. He'll take the reins, and we're going to be in very good hands there.
A couple more. With Pete coming back, what sort of difference does that make to the team now to have his experience, his big game experience? He knows what it's like to win Shields. Is that how much of a positive impact is that going to have on the group?
Oh, it's always going to have a positive impact when you get a good senior player back in. Just the same as when we got Scott Boland in for the last game. I think it says to you, you're strengthening the side. So from that point of view, that it's going to give the guys a lot of belief. And Pete's, he's played a lot of cricket. This is why you play. You play for those opportunities to win things. They mean probably more to you when you're a bit older as well. So here's another opportunity for him, and hopefully he can put in a really good performance for the side.
This last question on the final itself. You've beaten WA last week. They beat you in the final last year. What do you tell the players? Is it to enjoy the moment? Is it to try harder because it's a final? What are the things you're talking to them about to make sure that you get the best performance from this group from Thursday?
I don't think they can try any harder. No, I think it's probably enjoying it. It's like I said, they're going to go out there. They're going to be competing as hard as they can. I think privately, you asked me if I was excited. 15 minutes before we did this show, and I think as you get older, you learn to manage your emotions better around these moments, and so for us, we just want to enjoy the experience. If we play well and we win, then outstanding. If WA play well and we don't, that's okay. We're still going to keep pushing and getting better and better. But clearly we want to, we're desperate to win the game. I don't need to put any more pressure on them. It's just about going out and showing people, how good you are.
Are you confident because you did win last week and this run of 5 consecutive victories that you can go and get the job done? There's no harder task in cricket, in domestic cricket here in this country, than beating WA in WA.
Yeah, absolutely. But I am confident. I'm confident in our group. I think the way we've played in the second half has been nothing short of outstanding. It's going to be bloody hard. I have no doubt about that. But I think we've got everything we need to perform well. And like I said, if we play a good game, we're going to be a real chance. So good luck to the players. I think it's one of those experiences you look back at the end of your career and you think, I was so lucky to play in those matches, and so I hope they enjoy it.
Well, Chris, congratulations on what you've achieved this year with this group. It's been a joy to watch you guys play. Even early in the season, there was still those signs that this could be possible. Good luck in the final, and extra good luck in selecting the team. I look forward to what you've come up with for that final 11, because you've got some tough decisions to make, which is a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely. But thanks, Whitey. I appreciate it, and all the support as well.